Hey there, welcome to the garden. So, I've been a little MIA for the last week. To be honest, it's just back to school and and all of those things, and fall in the garden just gets kind of crazy. But I did film a video before I kind of took the week off, and so I'm gonna put that in now. And so that's what you're gonna see now. Hey there, I'm heading out to the back garden. It's time to plant some more seeds for fall and winter. It's nice when you're gardening and decisions are just kind of like made for you. There's so many decisions as a gardener, and it's so nice when there are times where you're like, you know what, this is just what I gotta do. So I was out in the pollinator section of the front garden planting out the shrubs that I got, the hibiscus and everything that I wanted to put out there. And I've been debating whether or not to put these guys in that pollinator border. They're obviously perfect pollinator border plants, but there's just been a piece of me that's been like wanting to have them back here. And I was out there trying to dig through that soil, and it was so hard to dig into that soil that I just figured, you know what? No, I'm not going to plant those out there right now. I'm going to put them actually into one of the beds out here for the moment. And then I'm actually going to plant this up with some greens for the winter. So first, oh my gosh, I'm already covered in mud from digging up those other plants. So first I'm going to move these little echinacea plants are in really small sized, really super small sized, like root balls. So I might put those up in that pollinator border. But at least these big agastaches and these rudbeckias, they're just too pretty. And I kind of want to have like a little cut flower section over here. So I'm thinking I'm gonna move around some of the potting soil in this bed and maybe see if I can plant the flowers in here. I don't know if this is gonna work, but we're gonna try it. So I have just lifted these out and I've just kind of set them in this bed. And yeah, there's not a ton of soil in here yet. So I think I'm just gonna kind of set them here. And then I have a bag of soil, and I'm just gonna kind of throw it over around the top and kind of try to fill it in here. I know I want to leave a little bit of space in here that I could put some zinnias, some annual flowers, and then space behind so that it's not overcrowded. And I figure eventually these plants will go ahead, they're gonna grow, and I'm sure I'll be like dividing them up and probably planting them out in the pollinator garden at some point. But just for right now, they're so pretty right here. I kind of love this. All right, I'm moving it around a little bit because I realize that this agastache is going to be really tall. I think what I'm going to do is put this other one over in the other bed, and then I might take one out into the pollinator border, which might be good. And this will be pretty right here. You've got to remember, whenever you're planting, perennials like this, sometimes it's hard, at least for me. I sometimes have a hard time remembering that they're going to reach that mature size, and then that's going to be a whole other thing once you get to that big mature perennial. Second year perennials, a whole different thing. But we'll get this guy planted in here. I'm planting them fairly close together because I want them to be full. And then I probably will. The other thing to remember in an area like this, like with what my intentions for this space are, is that this is gonna be
A lot of these like perennials, like these aren't going to take off blooming until about this time of year. You know, they're really that late summer, August blooms. So if this is a big focal point space in my garden, I just need to remember that, like, you know, I can have space. I can plant a few things like in the front here or over here, like zinnias and so forth, and then these will come up and then they'll bloom like midsummer, maybe a little earlier than August, maybe like July, late June. Okay, I think that's pretty. I like that there. I like this idea of these like whimsical little meadows stuck in here. So I'm gonna put the other one over on the other side. This is gonna go over here. I don't have a ton of soil in this bed, so I need to grab a little bit of potting soil to put around this. I have often struggled in my small garden areas with trying to decide between planting in like a lot of annuals, because you can change them every year and you can change them up. And then I just do have a love for like the late season perennials. Like the rudbeckias, the agastaches, the echinaceas, I really love them. I really, really do. And so it's always hard for me to decide what to plant. Okay, now we're gonna plant up this. I did leave that one agastache. I think that's gonna go out to the perennial border. Let me grab that out. Just got a spare pot here. Probably gonna move that bed. I kind of like having the height in the back right there. I just haven't fully decided on whether or not that's where I want it to stay forever, but it's on wheels, so I don't have to commit to anything, which I personally love. Here's the greens we're gonna plant in there. I went for a lot of greens in this collection of seeds that are really gonna last through winter cold temperatures, like some of my most cold hardy greens. So we've got let's see, corn salad, which is one of, like, when all of my other greens are dead to the cold, these, wait a second, are there any seeds in here? Oh no, I don't usually put back an empty seed packet. Are there any in here? Well, if you're doing your garden and you want a super winter hardy green, corn salad is great. It will survive when nothing else will survive. It doesn't get very big, but it's a nice, like, kind of fresh, cool weather crop. Really, really delicious. And definitely one for those with really cold temperatures. This, even when we've had like our negative temperatures, which we don't have very often, but even when we've had our cold snaps, this grows no problem. So that's a good one. I would grow it if I had any more. I'll have to order some more. I'm also going to grow some Swiss chard. Not only is Swiss chard like such a beautiful green, it's always a decorative, beautiful one, but it's cold hardy and it's warm, like heat tolerant. So it's kind of the perfect green. I've said this forever. Don't eat it as a full-size Swiss chard leaf. Those beautiful pictures of people holding Swiss chard leaves, and I know it's gorgeous. Don't eat it when it's big though. Eat it when it's small. Throw it on salads, throw it on sandwiches, use it like spinach, and you'll enjoy it much more. It's my personal take. But yeah, this is a really pretty one. It has the yellow, like technically orange, kind of orangey yellow looking stems. It's going to grow quickly, mature early, and it has just the beautiful color. And it's heat tolerant. So I can grow this now in the winter. It'll get up, it'll get started for the fall, winter, and then it'll keep growing next spring and do fine and not be bothered by the heat at all. I am starting all of these greens, let's see, it's the end of August. So we've got maybe 60 days till our first frost. This is a 45-day to maturity green. So mostly I'm going to be growing these for baby greens. It's not that the plants will die in the cold. They won't. So even when we get our frost and even when it gets really cold and we get our winter temperatures, these plants aren't going to die. But what is going to happen is they are just going to basically stop growing. In the winter, there's not as much sunlight. Obviously, there's not as much warmth. They kind of just hang out. So you want to grow these as like baby greens, and then you can keep harvesting them as baby greens as long as they're lasting out in the field and everything, and they'll kick back up once it warms up in the spring. But just don't expect them to be like growing super intense growth in the middle of January. They're probably not going to be growing much, but they probably will live through it, especially if you're in zone 7B like me. That's not going to probably kill them. So you can get baby greens. You can kind of have those going, and hopefully we'll get a fall harvest. I'm also going to try some bunching onions. So these are just, I have this last little seed pack with just a few seeds. So I'm going to start some of these. This is like a just classic bunching onion. I like to have bunching onions, and bunching onions are very cold tolerant. They will handle lots of cold weather. They don't mind at all. Also, collard greens, despite being called Georgia Southern collards, you would think that they would be more cold sensitive. I have found that collard greens are very, very cold hardy for me, and their flavor just gets better in the cold. These are also heat tolerant, so I'm actually curious to see. I've never tried to grow collard greens in the heat at all. I'm kind of curious to see if these will bolt like I've had them kind of bolt in the past, but maybe I could even do a spring crop of these, which would be kind of interesting. I like to use them like I would use kale. I like to blanch them and then like use them as like spinach and rice wraps. I actually really like eating collard greens quite a lot. 60 to 80 days to maturity though, so again, we're cutting it close. This is mostly going to be like a baby green kind of thing at this point, at least until spring, probably. I do have some started inside though, and when I plant out those starts that I'm growing inside, then we'll probably have a more mature collard greens. I'm also going to throw in some Cimarron lettuce just because I thought it'd be pretty in this like container here to have something that's a little bit of different color. So this is a really pretty romaine style leaf with that bright red color, which is kind of fun. And then I also have some Mizuna. So another thing that is super, super cold tolerant, Mizuna does really well. Baby greens in 3 weeks. So you can't beat that. That's absolutely amazing. And hopefully, because we've got good, nice temperatures and we're going to be getting lots of like kind of rain and stuff in the next few days, this should do really well. And then another thing that I wanted to get some kind of interesting color, I have these old seeds, so I figured I would use these up. These are flashy trout back lettuce. I like these speckled romaine lettuces. They usually grow really well. This grows in ground, and people recommend it for containers too, so that's always nice because technically this elevated garden bed is a container. So anything that's kind of like containery will be good. So here we go. Let's plant these up. So this is a pretty long bed. I'm going to do a row along the back of collard greens. Just because I know they're going to do well. And honestly, like if I know they're going to do well, I think they'll be pretty. I'm not going to sow them super far apart, because mostly, as I said, I'm mostly going for baby greens, even with the collard greens. And then I can thin them out and grow on a few heads as we get further along in the season. And then along the front of the bed, I'm going to do another line. And that's going to be the Mizuna. Again, just something that I know is probably going to grow really well, that I don't have to worry about too much. Then we'll do Swiss chard at the ends. and a little bit of Swiss chard down here. And yeah, I just like to throw them in like bunches and clumps because I'm like in the baby green kind of mode. I only have a couple seeds of the bunching onion, so I'll put those in the corner. And then what I'm going to do for the lettuce is I think I'm going to make my own seed mix. A bunch of seeds. This is a ton, but again, baby greens. So I'm going to plant these small. I'm going to use the cut and come again method, picking them small. So I just want to do like a big sprinkle. And this whole, we're just going to have a big salad bowl in the middle of this bed. Woo! Done. I love it. Now, one thing you need to think about, if this is your first time growing greens like this, if it's not your first time, then you know that the caterpillars are going to be after these. So get some BT spray and have that ready. It's not toxic. It's just a bacteria that's going to hurt the insects. And spray it if you have any issues with the bugs getting after, because they're going to, especially like the brassica, like the collard greens, that's like a brassica, and those really nice like juicy leaves, they're going to want the bugs are going to want to get in there. They're going to want to eat them for sure. So definitely be prepared. Or you could do bug netting. The nice thing about like a container like that is it's really easy to put like a little bit, just a mesh bug netting over the top, which probably is even more effective, honestly, of keeping like those moths and the things that want to lay eggs on your little baby brassica plants. Just cover them, and then you don't have to mess with it.
All right. And you would have just seen that video, and I want to show you, it's a week later, and I want to show you how the seeds are doing because they are sprouting really beautifully. I'm actually getting a lot of good germination. I have been coming out here. I need to water again. I have been coming out here and watering these little seedlings so much because it has been so dry. It's actually kind of rare for us. I guess in the fall, usually it gets a bit drier. But you know, for us, it's been like 2 weeks since we've had like any kind of rain. That's pretty different for us. So yeah, but look at these happy little seedlings. You can see over here where these, I should have put more dirt in this elevated garden bed because along here they're kind of stretching to try to get the sun, but the other ones are doing really nicely. I'm really pleased. It makes me wish that when I still have time, I suppose, but it makes me wish that I had sown more seeds in August because I'm like, they're doing really well. And in the fall, of course, the other thing you need to worry about is like that the leaves are going to cover your little baby seeds. We are getting the first few leaves from the tulip trees are coming down. So I guess that is a sign that fall is somewhat on its way. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.